Shai, Kalala Shai, Tawada Hawa, Tawada Shai. The runners, the apostles of James, Greatness, and Shalom to the brothers out there pushing this work in sincerity and in honesty. Shalom to the helps and the sisters. Right? We're gonna start with this precept and get into the lesson. This is 2 Timothy 2 verse 15. It says, study to show thyself approved unto Yahweh, a workman needed not to be ashamed, rightly, I repeat, rightly dividing the word of truth. Rightly dividing the word of truth. To cut straight way, to proceed on a straight path, to hold a straight course, to do right, to make straight, smooth, to handle aright, to teach the truth directly and correctly. Right? So the topic is the situation of rape, right? Because these men have the concept that from you take a woman and lay with her and you forcibly lay with her, right? You rape her and it's punished by death, right? And it doesn't go that way, right? But we have phone I stick like but we have a little information. Yeah, let me go through the information first and then we get into the scriptures. Alright, so forgive me kind of scatter. So we're just gonna get them. Alright, so this is the information. So apparently you had two words for in Deuteronomy 28, and I think 22 and 28, and I think in 22 this phone is ticking. Just give me a few. Alright, so just let me read through it. So in Deuteronomy 28 and 22 and 28, the phrase lay all translate from the Hebrew verb tafas, refer to a man seizing, grasping, or taking position of an unbetrothed woman. The exact meaning of the seizing is subject of significant debate among Bible scholars, primarily centering on whether they describe violent force, in bracket rape, or persuasive intent, seduction. So it's an argument whether it's seduction or rape. Linguistic distinction, Thafa versus Kazakh. Kazakh, I guess is that. Scholars often point to a critical difference between the Hebrew word used in nearby verses, le'ol, tafa, used in verse 28 for unbetrothed woman. It generally means to seize or to handle, and is used elsewhere in the Bible for grabbing objects or capturing enemies. Right? Do you seduce the enemies when you capture them? Think about that. Force Kazakh used in verse 28 that describe the rape of a betrothed woman. This word specifically means to overpower or prevail over by strength and carries a much violent connotation. Right? Yeah, and the thing that they get wrong is that the transgression is not of the man taking grabbing up an unbetrothed woman, but the sin is where you take a next man woman, a betrothed woman, right, or a married man woman, right? That's where the sin come in, right? as it's not a crime to go into to get a car and drive a car, go where you wanna go, right? The crime is when you get in another man's car by robbing, right? By robbing it, and you go and drive around. That's the crime. So it's a difference. It's not because you take the woman by force mean um it's sin, or yeah, it's a violation. No, right? Um, we're gonna go down to a meaty part, right? So through all that, them reason scholars, right? So summary of consequences is a regardless of whether lay all meant force or seduction, the legal result was the same. The man had to pay a standard bride um, bride price of 50 shekels of silver and was forbidden from ever divorcing her, ensuring that the woman's lifelong economic security in a culture where non-virgins had few marriage prospects. Um, yep. Yes, so whether it was by force or by seduction, the matter is he had to pay for the father's goods, right? And I'll look up something else. Let me see. I think it's this one. Alright, so it's this. So this is something I find. So apparently when you betrothed a woman, you still had to pay the father, but the dowry was a bit less, or unless the father gave it up or you work for it. Yeah, it's commonly practiced that you would work for the father. I think Jacob worked for 7 years, right? Had to work for 14, but 7 for one daughter, and then 7 for the next, so it total in 14, right? Because it's a position that's been taken from the father. Yeah? You say, how would a woman get betrothed to a man in ancient Israel? You say, in ancient Israel, a woman was betrothed erosin through a binding covenant negotiated between her father and the groom, often involving a bride price, mohar, mohar, right, paid by the groom. This formal contract, often accompanied by gifts, legally considered the couple married although they did not live together or consummate the marriage until the final wedding ceremony. Right, so they didn't have sex until the wedding ceremony. Key aspect of betrothal in ancient Israel: family arrangement. Marriage were typically arranged by the father, although it was not always a forced marriage, right? He said the more bride price, the groom provides a gift to the bride's family to compensate for the loss of her labor and to show her value, serving as a form of security for her, right? So the father had to get gifts here, right? And these men push the law. Do you give the fathers a gift in this time? That's a question for you men that push the law, and rape this and rape that. Do you give the fathers gift in these times? Right? A matter of fact, does the father come to you And do you make an agreement before you have sex with the man's property, with the father's property? Do you make an agreement before? You're speaking about the law, the law, the law, but you don't do these things, right? You don't do these things, and you're so hell bent on the law. This is a part of the law, yeah, right? You go and you talk to the father, say you want his daughter, and then you give payment, and it's betrothed unto you, yeah? Right? Binding nature, yeah, and it open up a next level of understanding, because a woman that is betrothed is not necessarily um she don't necessarily have sex with that man as it, but because the man paid for her, it's his property, right? It's a binding nature. During this period, the woman was considered set apart. During this period, the woman was considered set apart, kindred from the husband, and infidel was considered adultery. Right? It's a waiting period. The betrothed or engagement generally lasts about a year, allowing the groom to build a home for the couple within his father's estate. Um, Ritual element. The ceremony could include a formal blessing and sharing a cup of wine. A patios. State's patio. Once the mora was paid and the agreement reached, the woman was known as an arosa, betrothed woman, legally belonging to her future husband, but still living in her father's house until the final wedding. So that clear up what I just say, yo. Um, the reason why it's a crime, even though he doesn't have sex with her, is because he paid for her, so she belongs to him, right? It's just that, just like a car, you you pay the money, but you don't get the title yet, or you don't get the car. You pay, you have the title and thing, but you don't get the car yet. It's your car, yeah? Right? You paid for it, but you just don't get it. So if a man just come and rob your car, yo, he transgressed against you, right? Alright, so was every woman paid for in ancient Israel? So in ancient Israel, a bride price was known as mahor. Mohar was a standard legal requirement for a betrothed to be valid. However, while the concept of payment applied to most women, the payment itself wasn't always strictly cash or goods, especially eh, um, exceptions for the poor. Financially arrangements were standard but often absent among the poorest families who had not surpluses to exchange labor as payment. If a man could not afford a mohar, he could pay through service. A famous example is Jacob, that I mentioned before, who worked for 7 years to pay for his wife Rachel, right? And it gives some other example. If a hero heroic, if the man played a hero, right, to the family or so on and so forth, the father of the house might give a daughter for a payment, yeah. Yeah, so you paid for something there. You pay for your wife whether or not you whether you see her and she was not betrothed and you lay with her, or you go to betrothed it, right? To pay for it when you go betrothed, a woman that city. Right, so I read that before. I said whether or not you take her by force, um, okay, I think this is the last one. Oh wow, I'm not bringing out the scripture yet, but we're gonna get into it. Um, so if a single woman, if a single woman got raped in ancient Israel, was it a crime? Right? So this is where they go and get hyped. You say yes, rape was considered a crime in ancient Israel, but its legal classification and consequences were primarily focused on property rights and social stability rather than victims' personal autonomy. According to the biblical law, rape was viewed as a violation of and her father's a woman's value and her father's property rather than a crime against a personhood. The legal consequence differ based on whether the woman was betrothed, engaged, or single. Right? Betrothed, which means engaged, or single. Rape of a single unbetrothed woman, as we go read the scripture, um, the law require if a man rape an unbetrothed woman, the law require him to pay her father 50 shekels of silver, a bride price, and marry her, right? If she was not betrothed, right? Um, no divorce forbidden. Yeah. Alright, so it say rape of a betrothed woman outside the city. If the rape occur in the city, the law assumed that the woman did not consent and the man was put to death. Right? Of a betrothed, not unbetrothed. They tell you about the betrothed little while. About the unbetrothed, say you have to pay, right? And if it's betrothed now, the man get put to death inside the city. If it occurred in a town, she was expected to scream. If she did not scream, both could be stoned, and it was assumed to be consensual. So therefore, if she don't scream, she was up with um the man abusing another man's property, and that would be adultery according to the scripture, and they shall be put to death. It's straightforward, yeah? Right? It's straightforward. It is straightforward. So let's get the scriptures. Wrong one. So this is Deuteronomy 28. Selak Emel is 28. That's the first. Deuteronomy 22 and verse 25. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field and force her and lie with her, then only the man that lie with her shall die. Right? Why? Because she cried. Because she cried out. That one? Yeah, because she cried. But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin word of death, for when a man raise against his neighbor and slay him, even so is his matter. For he found her in the field, and the betrothed damsel cried, and there was none to save her. Right? If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay with her, and lie with her, lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he had humbled her. He may not put her away all the days of his life. And it's simple, yo. It is very simple. If you don't believe this, right? If you don't believe these scriptures, dwell with you. Simple as that, yo. Even the search could back you up on that. So just do some good Google search, right? And it back you up on that. Yeah, it was a crime, but it wasn't um a crime of death, because you go round, you try go round the thing. Yeah, you take a woman by force without betrothed. You try go round the thing, so therefore you have to pay up some money to the father. Yeah, right? In find out, and you have to pay up some money, and the same consequences. You do that. You take an unbetrothed woman. You have to pay the money and keep her. You have to keep her, yo. You can't put her away. So it was a thing, because as it mentioned, it wasn't like a poor man could just get up and get a woman like that. It's not like in the days that we're in, where a man can just sweet talk a woman and get in her pants, and nothing come out. But then a woman was a position to the father, and a great gain to the house, right? So you lose your daughter, when normally help you with certain things in the house. You lose a help, right? So therefore, we are gonna need compensation for that, right? We're gonna need compensation for that, and that's just it, right? Woman was a position, but now everyone get emotion. So therefore, a woman in this society, a woman is pretty equal to a man, and a woman has free will. She can do anything she feel like, and so on and so forth. But it was not so back then, and this is why when the issue come up of rape, a man taking hold of a woman which don't have no man, they get offended, right? Because they try to mix this truth with the thoughts of this world in this present time. It was which one I think me search one, and it'll show you. So it'll show you, say a woman want to get married. Yeah, I guess not here, but it shows you that woman desire to get married in one that I researched there. Right, a woman desire to get married. Yes, so that's a breakdown, as it say in the thing I look up, whether or not the word mean to force or to rape. The henda bayal is that the man had to pay for the father's property, and he could not put away that woman, right? So whether whatsoever meaning you wanna put to the word, right? And as I read, it used in other sense, it means capture, like capturing the enemies, right? So do you seduce the enemies when you capture them? No, you lay hold on them, you take them by force, right? So any spin you want to put on it, these scriptures is life, Do we go out there and lay hold on woman now? No. but we don't go there, and just like how we don't grab them up now, we don't pay the father the dowry, right? It doesn't mean that what we're doing now is right. The man is losing property, pay the man his money. But in this society we can't afford that, so we have to do as. Yep, in the society. And we in our kingdom, when the kingdom come, we especially the elect won't be busy trying to to rape no woman, right? Woman is going to be brought onto us, right? It was like I can say now. Yeah, it was just that, yeah, for a situation, right? It's not something practice. It's not say I'm gonna find a woman and after that. No, because it came with consequence, right? And a rich man don't need to go. Rich man have other things to think about it. So if he had the money to pay, why would he go and try grab up a woman if he go pay the father money, Him just link the father and make know so me like your daughter. Me I pay that and that, and get the things and prepare and we go marriage ceremony and so on and so forth. All you got to do is think, man. All you got to do is think, right? That's more. Grabbing up a woman is more for um is more for a man out there just walking and decide say him just want not even know if he explain it, but it's not something commonly practiced, right? So with that, I hope this video was edifying. As you see, we bring out some good information found on Google, and we read the scriptures. Even the scriptures is quoted in the things we found on Google. Right, so I hope this was edifying. Kalalali Abashema Shai Bashema Kakodash. You guys go and pay the father the dowry because you're so into the law. Go and pay the father the dowry. Shalom.